You're listening to BFM 89.9, the business station.
Good morning, George. So it seems that the shutdown of the US government is imminent since the Republican-controlled House has voted against Obamacare. How do you think this will play out?
Good morning, Julian. I think that we are going to have a shutdown. I don't think it's going to come until we get to the debt ceiling debate. I think that there will be some kind of delay and there'll be a certain funding of Obamacare. But really the debt ceiling battle, which is going to come on the 17th, that's going to be where the real battle is. And I suspect the only way to get through it is to have a shutdown of some sort. The fact the Republican side are making irrational demands, that's true. Obama, on the other hand, is saying he's not going to even talk at all. Not negotiating has never been a very effective way of getting something done. So at this point, there's got to be some dramatic change for us to avoid a shutdown.
Is he in a position to use his veto to get things done, to keep the government open?
He is, and that takes care of the short-term problem. But the tide is beginning to turn, and I think that he's now in a politically sensitive position where he's going to have to step down from his position of not negotiating at all and coming up with some kind of compromise to get us through.
According to a Bloomberg survey, 60% of respondents said that it's right to require spending cuts while the debt ceiling is raised, even if it risks default, because Congress lacks the spending discipline. What are your thoughts on where the U.S. budget should go?
Yes, Congress and the President do lack spending discipline. Yes, we do need to have spending cuts, even if it means a risk of default, and the spending cuts need to be very specific rather than across the board. One thing that is happening now, Julian, that I think is going to be positive for an ultimate compromise is the tide has really turned to blaming both parties and the president, not just one party. In fact, 42% of the independents are blaming Obama now and his congressional allies, while 34% believe it's the Republicans who are responsible. But in any case, whoever takes the primary blame, both sides and the president are now being blamed by the public. Both political parties are guilty of not making choices, but in the end, Obama is president, and sooner rather than later, especially now, we will have to default if we don't make specific cuts. I don't think we'll be able to avoid a shutdown, but I do think the length of the shutdown will be very critical. It could be short if we could come to some sort of compromising position on both sides. What is really needed is a negotiation of a compromise. And again, with regard to the budget, the cuts have to be very specific and not across the board.
Treasury notes also rose for a third week in the longest winning streak since April amid the search for safe assets against the shutdown and the pushback on tapering. Will this rally in Treasury continue?
It will continue throughout this period, and I'm talking about a week to 2 weeks, perhaps 3 at the most. The continuing lack of strength in the economy, the fact that we have an unemployment rate that is unacceptable, and a very low employment participation rate means that from an economic point of view, once we get through the political side of the issue that we're facing now, we're still facing a fairly weak economy and a lack of real strong growth. So I suspect that interest rates will again come back down, and the rally that we've been seeing on the Treasury note side will dissipate. It is more of a trading rally at this point, and it's really very politically motivated. And once the political reason for it has been settled, then I think we'll go back to a much more normal market where stocks, again, continue to outperform. Although, given what we're going through with the whole political process, it is now quite possible that even the stock market will also face a 5% pullback, given the uncertainty and the effect of the uncertainty on our economic growth.
Thank you, Dodge. That was Dodge O'Dolan, Chairman and Chief Investment Officer of Lander & Fuse Capital Managers in New York on this morning's Market Watch, BFM 89.9.
BFM 89.9, the business station.